All right, people. It's greetings, you sexy bastards. It's July 11th right now. Back in Monterey doing construction work. Back to the good old pain and suffering. And I want to do an update because yesterday was, one of those kind of like end goal type days, like big day on the calendar. If you've been watching, see the stuff and the deadlines, all that good stuff. So basically, I failed. It sucks. The app is functioning like amazingly ish. I mean, at least as well as I would want it to. It's searching custom knowledge base. It's pumping that custom knowledge base, those custom knowledge base answers into the chat. It's making use of previous reflections, all of that kind of stuff. Fantastic. Been showing it to people. Everyone's like, "Whoa, that's so cool!" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, it's awesome." So loving that. However, um, I can't like publish it, and the goal was to finish the app by then. Um, but I did want, actually, no, the goal was to get it on the App Store by the 10th, and I failed because I emailed, basically, since it costs me money to run the app, since I'm making API calls to OpenAI, it costs like a couple of cents every time somebody enters a reflection, asks a question, all that kind of stuff. So, it I can't post it on the App Store until I've monetized it, at least with ads. However, I can't monetize it with ads because the basically the the code package that I would use to monetize it isn't integrating with my project for some reason. I spent a few days trying to figure that out. It kept failing, and I was like, "Fuck, this sucks." And I emailed Google, and I was like, "Yo, what the fuck?" And after a couple of days of emailing with them, eventually I just sent them my entire project. I really hope they don't like steal my fucking app. But they looked at the whole project and they were like, "Dude, this we don't know what to tell you. Like we can't figure it out." I was like, "Dude, are you kidding me? What the fuck?" So they gave me a few other things they could try. They're like, "I don't know, like look into this, look into that, but we can't help you." And that fucking sucks. So it's definitely a setback, but I was kind of getting like emotional about it a few days ago. But I was reading The 50th Law by Robert Greene, and um, there was no like individual like quote or take or like insight that necessarily switched my thinking on it. But this is kind of a common thing and theme throughout Robert Greene's books, um, and some of the stories kind of brought it back to light. Basically, the idea the key idea is like, look, you're going to have successes and you're going to have setbacks. And the key to strategic thinking isn't to indulge in positive thinking or indulge in negative thinking. It's not about having a success and then focusing on the success and having all those emotions come up, because all of those emotions, what they're going to do is they're going to distort your thinking, and you're going to get complacent, or you're going to get kind of overinflated, kind of like egotistical, or the next time challenges strike, you're gonna hold on to that positive mindset, and you're not going to want to slip into the necessary negative mindset that you have to be in to deal with problems. There's some other stuff like that, but the same thing happens with the negative thoughts. You indulge in negative thoughts, you have all these emotions that start to come up, and you start to feel discouraged, all that kind of stuff. So strategic thinking is simply looking at negative things and not feeling those negative emotions, but realizing, hey, you know what? This is a setback. Setbacks are to be expected. There's no reason to be hard or critical on myself. Certainly, I was my I invested a little bit too much time in a social life over the last month. Maybe not too much, but I think I could have been more aggressive, and maybe I would have been able to figure out this problem in time if I had been more aggressive. But that's okay. It is what it is. I'm a little bit behind. This is a setback. I've dealt with other issues. I was freaking out about the custom knowledge bases, and I figured that out, and that seemed impossible. So I'll figure out some way to monetize this, and then I'll put it up on the App Store. I don't know when I'm going to get that done by, hopefully by the end of the month. And the other thing is the certificate. That's like 100% on me. Honestly, if I started taking practice exams to get my iOS programming certificate earlier, I definitely could have had it done by now. So it's a little bit daunting. I spent $130 on the exam in order to just have access to the exam, and I only have 2 attempts for the exam. So I kind of, I'm hesitant to get into it, but probably do another practice exam today. I aced the last practice exam, and then go ahead and take that final exam, hopefully before the end of the week. Again, this week, it's going to be hectic. I'm starting construction. Today's like my first day back to that. And then I just have so many like kind of just chores to get done, just in terms of moving out of my apartment, moving into my next one, figuring out stuff with my roommates, other things like that. I got to get parking figured out for next year. It's like a bunch of bullshit. And then on Thursday, I'm going to San Francisco for a Pinecone convention. It's like a artificial intelligence summit where a bunch of like programmers are all coming together to discuss AI, and there are going to be a bunch of speakers talking about LLM applications, custom knowledge bases, all this stuff that's right at my alley. So super excited for that. And then after that, I'm going to make a presentation and write a speech that I'm going to come back and give to the whole construction company and be like, hey, here's what I learned. Here's what you might integrate. Maybe I'll convince them to pay me to do something for them, but more likely than not, hopefully I'll convince them to just get somebody to start integrating AI into their processes. And then I don't know if that'll be me. Depends on like the kind of degree of complexity that they want, if I have that kind of knowledge, or if they need to get somebody who's a little bit more knowledgeable. Plus I really like making these apps that I've been making, but money is nice too. Let's see, try to keep this under 10 minutes. A few things, dude. College, that's something I've been thinking about. I've got a buddy who dropped out of college. He's hitting the online business world hard. And we've been talking about that kind of stuff a lot. Obviously, I'm in a pretty nice situation with studying engineering. That's right up my alley. That's kind of in the boat of the things that I want to do. So, and that's like, engineering, it's so difficult that doing it is going to build me into a very capable thinker and a very capable individual, just like as a whole. So, something like philosophy, psychology, that stuff, it's worth it, maybe, but maybe I would drop out if I had those kind of things and like really hit business hard. With engineering, it's like, man, there's just so much value in the skills and in the work processes that you go through while you're studying engineering. So I don't necessarily want to drop out, but I've definitely been thinking about the amount of time that starting an online business would take, the kind of situation that I'm in with LLM applications. I just developed an extremely high value skill over this last month with my app actually working. And it's like, I could build a banger of a business around that. I mean, there's so few people who like this kind of business model literally just appeared less than a year ago. Like, what is it? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and then 1, 2, 3. So like 9-10 months ago, right? And that's unreal. And so there's so few people who have this skill. It's so niche, and it's one of the most valuable skills available right now, or one of the most valuable skills to have right now. So there's so much money in that. It's hard for me to not want to capitalize on that and spend all of my time building a business around that and attacking, like going full throttle in that instead of letting it kind of pass by. Especially with these apps that I'm making, there's just so many options there. I could, obviously I can create an online course that describes the process that I use to develop this app. There's literally nothing online about how to create a custom knowledge-based LLM application for iOS apps. That's super niche and very high value, very, very high value. I'd imagine a lot of iOS programmers would want to learn that. And I could be the one to share my approach. And I've learned a ton in the last month by doing this project. On top of that, I can keep on making these kinds of apps. And and then I can get into marketing these apps and actually making these into products and services that I can go and sell. And I'm not going to have that much time to do all of that if I'm in school. On top of that, there are a lot of books that I want to read that are going to give me more of the business knowledge that I would need to actually go and make these apps and do all of that successfully. I also want to make money, because if I make money, I can funnel that into those online businesses, those apps, those online courses, that kind of stuff. And getting that money would be done by working as an iOS programmer. I could work part-time. That would be enough to kind of sustain myself, and then funnel money into those apps, into marketing, into all of that. It would give me the time to do the research and the studies that I need to, both in programming and business skills. So, man, if I try to do all of that on top of school, it's going to be gnarly. But the reality is, assuming I stay in school next semester, it's like I'm going to try and do all of that no matter what. And like social life be damned, most likely. Or like sleeping be damned. And honestly, I sleep like, I've had multiple periods of time where it's like I sleep 5 hours a night and I just fucking go. And it's like, hey, you know what? If that's what I got to get back to, I kind of like life like that. I mean, it's like I'm on crack. So, maybe that'll be the next option. Shit, I'm at 11 minutes. Try to get this wrapped up then. Anyway, it's a lot of stuff that I'm considering. I don't have a programming job yet. I think if I end up with a coding job before the end of the summer, my thought is take the semester off. I can get in-state tuition on the other side of this semester. So maybe take this semester off, take a few online classes, like two online classes, work part-time, and then the rest of my time is online business. If I can't get a coding job before the end of the summer, then it's like I go into college, I crank, and I use the money that I've made in construction. I try to make as much use of that as I can for these other things. On top of that, I also have, I've kind of mentioned this before, a Pride course. I call it the Pride course. Basically, it's an analysis of the emotion of pride, how to develop emotional awareness around it, how to develop humility while maintaining a sense of confidence. I look at historical examples. I look at psychology, all that kind of stuff. Great course. I want to hire an editor. I want to make worksheets around it. I want to post it. I want to make it like really good and provide that value to people. And then that can actually draw in self-development type community that would be interested in using the kind of apps that I'm developing. So that's one plan. Another thing is Laws of Human Nature Action Guide. I spent a year studying that book, and I've developed an action guide around it, making that more accessible, marketing that, maybe doing a YouTube series around that. Those are two things I really, really want to do. Obviously, I can't do that while I'm in school, so, that's complicated. I think August is going to be really intense. The rest of July, I'm working construction, and then I'm going to a swing dance conference. So I think July is just going to be try and get that certificate, try and get that app up on the App Store, and then deal with, there are just so many, like I was saying, chores, little technicalities in my life as a whole that I got to work through. So get those two things done, get kind of like other life technicalities into order, make a little bit of money working construction. I'm listening to audiobooks while I work construction. So that's just kind of giving me a good amount of knowledge. I've been focusing more on books around like internal shit. So Letting Go is a book about letting shit go. Psycho-Cybernetics is what I'm listening to right now. 50th Law, Dealing with Fear, all of that kind of stuff. Much more emotion-driven books, trying to develop that happiness skill, trying to get those emotions in order, get that internal world in order, so when challenges come, it's like I can keep making progress, aggressive progress on this online business. Last year, I had a lot of like kind of depression, anxiety come up throughout the year, and I continue to make progress by going through dev slopes over the course of that year, but it wasn't aggressive progress. So I want to make sure I strengthen that internal world before the school year starts, and then I'll start looking at more business-oriented books after. But right now, it just feels like more internal-oriented books are definitely doing the job, and are giving me kind of like progress in an area I need progress in. So yeah, I really thought I was going to be more business-oriented books this summer, which is interesting, but I definitely need to get into those, especially if, over the next year, I'll probably spend the next year developing my product/service. So once I get to the other side of that, I want to already have kind of that foundation of business sense that I just don't have yet. And that's going to be, I have a list of books that maybe I'll show you guys at some point. Anyway, I just hit 15 minutes. I got to wrap this up. Also got to get back to work. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Peace.